Campaign season is just getting warmed up, but already we've seen plenty of the usual stuff. Candidates shaking hands, hanging out at diners, and scaring voters about foreigners who are taking your jobs.
Workers watch their jobs get shipped overseas.
We are exporting jobs.
I will fight to bring back good jobs.
Sometimes the threat comes from China, Japan, or outsourcing to India.
That's why I oppose NAFTA.
This time it's NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. You know, all those Mexicans taking our jobs. Everywhere you turn, NAFTA is accused of being a job killer.
50,000 jobs.
This country has lost more than a million jobs as a result of NAFTA.
It's true that since NAFTA went into effect in 1994, some jobs have been lost. But many more, 26 million more, have been created. Even with the economy that we have today, the unemployment rate is lower than it was before NAFTA.
I oppose NAFTA early from the start.
And yet we're always being lectured about the evils of NAFTA.
We've been devastated by faith-based economic policies.
And how our nation's bosses are selling us out for cheap foreign labor.
Looking to hire cheap foreign labor over American workers.
Cheap foreign labor. More cheap labor.
But if cheap labor is what we're worried about, there's a much bigger threat than foreigners. Politicians don't pay much attention to it, but Hollywood has been warning us about humanity's inevitable war against the machines. Machines and robots may not be destroying us, but they are destroying our jobs. Now think about it. How are we supposed to compete against something that doesn't get paid, doesn't get health insurance, and never goes on breaks? Everywhere you turn, machines are swiping our jobs.
Thank you.
Think parking lots need the human touch?
Thank you. Please come again.
This lot is fully automated, and robots have replaced warm-blooded attendants.
Please pay with cash or credit card.
Every time you go online to book your travel or do your taxes, you're nudging travel agents and accountants closer to the unemployment line. You don't need a person to sell you movie tickets, do your banking, or clean your pool. Sorry, ticket sellers, tellers, and pool guys. Oh, and you too, gardeners.
Robomo, a fully automatic lawnmower.
No job is safe from the robot threat. We already have planes that fly without pilots and symphonies with robot conductors. Even the oldest profession may not be safe. We'll be getting freaky with fembots in just a few years, say some robotics experts.
Are you surprised that I'm a robot?
None of this is new. The soulless job stealers have long waged war against human workers.
200,000 manufacturing jobs have been lost in this state.
Manufacturing jobs used to be much more common. But did you know that our nation is actually manufacturing more stuff than ever before? How? You guessed it, machines are doing more of the work.
Machines are replacing the people. A machine is standing there welding the parts together, pouring the material into the forms, stretching fabric over the seats, whatever it is.
Dr. Adrian Moore says machines have shaken up farming jobs even more than manufacturing. He should know. Moore grew up on a farm. Although he's now an economist with the Reason Foundation, the nonprofit that produces Reason.tv, he still lives the country life in Tehachapi, California.
There's no way humans can compete against machines in a lot of the back-breaking work in a farm. For me to go out with a hoe and hoe a small patch of land, a big garden, say, would take me probably days.
About 200 years ago, more than 90% of Americans worked on farms.
Damn.
Then came the machines. A tractor can do in minutes what it takes Moore days to do. Moore's daughters sell eggs to friends, and the family still raises some animals, but farming does not pay the bills. Today, only about 1% of Americans are farmers. Countless jobs went to mechanical farmhands.
If you're worried about cheap competition, a worker in China or Mexico might be working for 1/10 of what you're earning, but a machine is probably costing 1/100 of that, and it's getting cheaper all the time.
Of course, you won't hear much about this on the campaign trail.
I will have a trade timeout.
Trade timeout? How come nobody wants a technology timeout?
Big corporations rushing to replace well-paid American workers with cheap foreign labor.
Lou Dobbs keeps a list of naughty companies that ship jobs overseas. Why doesn't he keep a list of companies that use job-stealing technology? After all, the job he saves could be his own.
It looks like technology is on track to make you and I, human news anchors, obsolete.
How come we harp on foreigners, but we don't rage against machines?
Is this the anchor of the future?
Actually, we used to. In the early 19th century, folks called Luddites destroyed the textile machines that took their jobs. But before you take a sledgehammer to a robot, consider some good news.
Machines destroy a lot of jobs in America, but more jobs are created.
Travel agents may not have welcomed the internet, but websites lowered the cost of travel, and the tourism industry expanded.
There's this explosion, thanks to technology, of different kinds of jobs.
We were just getting to know the internet 10 years ago. Today, millions of Americans work in internet-related fields.
They used to make auto parts here.
It's easy to stand in an empty factory and blame NAFTA and Mexico. But free trade is a lot like technology. It lowers the price of things for consumers, expands markets for businesses, and provides jobs. More than 5 million of us wake up in America and go to work for overseas companies. Many of today's jobs didn't even exist a generation ago.
I live in a little mountain town of 6,500 people, and I can see these newly created jobs emerging even here. There are people here who are in the pet sitting business. There are people here that work for the private space tourism industry, and there's people that work in the wind energy field.
But if you're still not crazy about the new economy, there's always another option. Buy a remote plot and live off the land like our ancestors did. Just don't be surprised if the simple life isn't all that simple.
We all in this valley had to live off just what we could produce for each other. One bad summer, we could have half the people die. And in a globalized economy, when things go bad in one country, you can trade with other countries for the sustenance of life.
Maybe someday we'll realize that, like technology, trade gives us more good stuff than bad. Till then, don't expect many politicians to say nice things about free trade.
I haven't changed my position.
I just wonder which foreign nation Chelsea Clinton will be thundering against when she runs for president in 2024. Europa? Oceania? Then again, by that time, politicians might be replaced by robots.
Yes, we can.
For Reason.tv, I'm Drew Carey.